Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am going to sit further back this week because I watched last week's and I noticed that you guys weren't getting a full picture of the patterns, and I think it's because I was too close. So we're going to be a little bit further back this week. Got my iced coffee. So let's talk about stuff I found in patterns this week. As I've said in the description, I worked on a lot of vintage patterns this week, but I also did that amazing Goodwill pattern haul. So we're going to look at those too. But I found this absolutely beautiful. I think it's a silk to pony. I'm not sure. It's weird because, by the way, this was, you can see the rust stains. This was clipped to facing pieces, which have been traced onto an incredibly old newspaper. I threw the newspaper away, but yeah, but it's a very beautiful fabric, isn't it? I thought so. And then there was this. I don't know if you guys can read this. In with that, by the way. So I'm wondering if this at some point in time became that. Don't know, but would be interesting. This is going to go up on that board. I'm going to put that up on my collage board with some other stuff. Went to Goodwill this week and purchased this jar of buttons. Now, I already went through and like paired up all, these are all the stray buttons that don't have a match. I paired up all the buttons that like have a match, right? But in with the buttons, I found something that some of you will remember, and some of you won't. By the way, this is a vintage mayonnaise jar. In with the buttons were these. Now, some of you know what these are. For those of you who don't know what these are, back in the day, babies' shoes were, first of all, they were like high tops. They were usually white, and they had laces. And you used to put these on your baby's shoes so that their laces wouldn't come off and they wouldn't. In fact, I can't remember. I think this pops off. Yeah, it does, because I started to take it off. You would put this over the laces of the shoes after you tied them so that they wouldn't be untied all the time. But also, right, you could hear your baby come. Babies could not sneak up on us back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even before that. I don't think it was until about the 90s that someone decided that, maybe these aren't the best shoes for children to learn how to walk in, because the shoe itself was soft, but the actual sole of the baby shoe was hard leather. It was like polished, so it was slick. So I know, it's so horrible. So like the poor baby's trying to walk, right? They're learning how to walk and they're sliding on the carpet and the hardwood floor or whatever, right? Because the bottom of their shoe was hard. And yeah, it was not a very good idea, but all right. So just came from my girlfriends, my girl group, from a pool party, and we are going to go see the Barbie movie. We're trying to figure out when it can fit into everybody's schedule, because we're thinking about doing like a matinee. Anyway, so with that in mind, let's get Barbie out of the way and just do it. If you guys look at my Etsy shop at all, you saw that I posted some Barbie patterns. Now, I have a lot of doll patterns that are for fashion dolls, but I pulled out the ones that specifically were branded Barbie, and then one red herring or surprise or whatever. And it was this one, because I don't know about you, but I didn't know that Brooke Shields had a doll at one point in time, I guess the same size as a Barbie doll. Here are the line drawings. It was a McCall's pattern. It's from 1983. It's for all these outfits. And it includes wax transfers for, like, see how where's the bag at? Somewhere on here. Oh, here it is. This bag has like something on it. It's actually Brooke Shields' signature. So yeah, just so you knew, right? Okay. And Isn't this great? Skipper. Barbie's little sister who has flat feet, not the permanent, like Barbie has. And a million little pieces. And it was cut, partially cut. So I had to go through it and check the million little pieces. They're all in there. The uncut pieces, they're all in good shape. And then whoever owned this pattern drafted a couple more pieces. So there was like a piece for a different sweater than the one that's on here and something that looked like a skirt. So yeah, good on you, drafting extra clothes. All right, so now we get into the guts, the meat of it all. These are kind of in chronological order backwards. So this is Barbie. This is 1991. I don't know what to call this. I call this like Las Vegas Barbie because every single outfit is a fashion disaster. Look at these outfits. Yeah, we shouldn't be teaching little girls to dress like this. It doesn't matter about anything else. It's just absolutely these clothes. We should never be teaching little girls to dress like that. And then there was this one. So this one's kind of a collection. I don't know, the best of Barbie, because we have like this up here that's vintage. And then we have like a weird prom wedding dress. We got a wedding dress over here. Some kind of like she's singing with the Supremes. It's probably one of her jobs because Barbie has like 1,000 jobs, right? And then there was this one. This one was 1990. Yeah, again, yeah. Let's not teach our kids to dress like that. But, and she keeps getting married. And then I don't know what this is. Prom, maybe. And that's the line drawings. But last but not least, possibly the most beautiful in this whole collection was this. So it's a vintage advanced. I had to put it in here because it's a little bit fragile. It's from 1962. The only thing that was cut was actually the veil. It's very interesting. The pattern pieces for that you're going to cut out have the instructions on them, not separate instructions. And then they're labeled based on the order of their dress. Now, what I thought was so fabulous about this is this word right here. I want us to bring this word back. A trousseau, for those of you that don't know. And I know, and it's funny, I'll tell you the reason I know this. When my grandmother, my French grandmother, decided not to marry the man she was intended for, who was still in France, in 1912, I don't even know, after World War I, so 1917, she had met my grandfather, who was an Italian. And she wanted to marry my grandfather, and her family disowned her for a short period of time. So my grandfather had to buy her trousseau. A trousseau used to be intended for a new bride to be the clothing she would wear for the first 2 years of marriage or until she became pregnant with her first baby. And these were, now keep in mind, this is at a time when women had a lot less clothing. So when you're designing a trousseau, these were the things you would design. So the back of this Barbie has the list of what's on Barbie's trousseau. And it's fabulous. And it also contains another one of my favorite words that I really wish would come back. Let me see where it is. It is the peignoir. It's the last one. The peignoir. What is a peignoir? Well, it's interesting. I still see the word peignoir once in a while, but not as much as you used to. A peignoir basically is a very beautiful, very delicate, flowy nightgown. Something that's less practical. So it's not going to be made of t-shirt material. It's not going to be made of flannel. It's made of a delicate material. Maybe some silk, maybe some satin, maybe some mesh, netting, lace, whatever, with an over jacket or an over robe that matches it so that they are a set, which is what we would call them now. We would call them a nightgown set or a lingerie set, but they were called peignoirs for years. And so I was so happy to see this word peignoir. But, here's the funny thing. Barbie has the best wardrobe, even back in the day. So I'm just going to very quickly read you what she had. She had the bridal gown, right? She had the dress and jacket, and I love this description, for the honeymoon trip. Okay. The afternoon dress. For every trousseau, a shirtwaist dress. So this is a day dress, right? It says call it an afternoon dress, but it's a day dress. And then there's the engagement dress. So she has an engagement party dress, her nightgown, which is, I guess, let me see the nightgown real quick. Oh, wait, they're not referring to it as a nightgown. They're actually referring to it as a gown, like an evening gown. We would call it an evening gown. They're calling it a nightgown. And then the peignoir. So I was just this is just so fascinating. Obviously, all the Barbie stuff is up online if you want to look at it a little closer. But yeah, in fact, I love this so much that I'm going to cut this out. This is also going to go up on the collage board that I have all the sewing stuff on. All right, so let's look at some vintage patterns and then some modern patterns. Now, remember last week when I told you that I had already started working on the vintage patterns. I was going to do them this week, and I had already found a pattern. Oops, they're falling down. That was factory folded, but I didn't think it was factory folded. I thought it had been cut, so I unfolded it. That would be this pattern. And yeah, hallelujah. I'm going to take it out. It's not that fragile. It's not that fragile. I have it in here because it's a lot of pattern. So here it is. Right. I know. Man. Look at that. And this is like, I think there were 4 or 5 skirt pieces. No, I'm sorry. It's the way the dress is scored. You can see it there. That creates all that volume. And on top of all that, can we get an amen on these shoes? Look at those shoes. Oh my Lord, look at those shoes. Right? Not that and here's kind of a better line drawing that's done on the pattern. But I was like so angry with myself. It was so thick. The pattern was so thick. I thought it has to be cut, right? That's why it's so thick, because it was cut and all the pattern pieces are stuffed back in. No, uncut, still factory folded. All right, so here's the next one. I'm sorry about the plastic, but some of these, as you can see, are very fragile. So this is this one. It's absolutely beautiful. Let me see if I can gingerly take this out. Here are the line drawings on that. Another one, ton of pieces. In fact, I only have about half the pattern in the bag right now because I have to figure out how to gingerly put the rest of the pattern pieces, specifically the skirting pieces, into this. This, I believe, was partially cut. Most of these, except for the one that I showed you at the beginning that I screwed up, were either partially cut or completely cut. Oh, look at this lovely this little wounded bird. It's a maternity pattern from Ann Adams. It's missing everything except these pieces, and I believe yes, they're unused. I know, it's amazing. So I'm going to sell this as a wounded bird only because I feel like even though the pieces for this over jacket and the skirt are missing, this is such a cute little top. You know, I'll price it really cheap for someone who just really wants to make this because it's so cute. It's so cute. Oh, these patterns this week, these patterns were just off the hook. Gorgeous. Here's another one. Look at that. This one was partially cut. The stole was uncut. They're like the bow pieces, the sleeves, a bunch of it was uncut. Just amazing, right? And the other thing is, look at this fabric, right? Oh, so beautiful. Here's another one. This one, I believe, as you can see how fragile it is, she's got. When I get them like these, I'll show you another one that's really bad. I just try and put the pieces together. I don't like to use tape or anything. I'll let the next owner decide if they want to use tape or a bonding element. But look at this, and look at this collar, right? So here's the line drawings on that one. Just gorgeous. This one, unfortunately, the poor thing got her head chopped off. It looks like just an average dress pattern. Well, it's not. Can you see how high up that empire waistline comes up on this skirt? This is a one piece. So you have the choice of making the long sleeve with no collar or the one that's more like a shirt. And then this comes up this high. Crazy. And this one, and actually all of these patterns, the envelopes weren't in great shape, but the actual patterns were in good shape, even the ones that were cut. I decided to add this one. It's a girl's pattern, but it's a teen pattern. It's a 14. And like I was saying last week, if you're a petite woman, you may be able to either grade this up a little bit or actually use it because it's a bust 32, which is small. But, you know, if you're petite, it might be perfect for you. Here's another one, same thing. You know, size 14, girl's pattern, but oh, so cute, right? There's the line drawings on that one. Well, I'm sorry, not the line drawings, the illustrations. And there's this one. This, I believe, was 1960 or 58. So cute. This was a size 12, bust 30. Again, I'm including it even though it's a teen pattern because I just feel like anybody that really wants this outfit and can do a little bit of drafting and grading, they can grade it up. And here we go. Size 8, bust 32. But this technically would be, I'm sorry, that's waist 23. This is a teen pattern. Oh, and this pattern again. So I'm pretty sure this is the pattern that I sold to Miranda from Miranda Makes, but then I found another one. And I think I even have a third in there somewhere. And it's just this advanced pattern for ladies' pajamas, but it's so cute. This one, I love this one. Oh, if this was in my size. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then here are the drawings on the back. Found a couple of Vogues this week, including this oh so sassy Vogue. I guess that says sub-teen. I don't know what a sub-teen is, but is that like what we used to call a tween? I don't know. But, and there were no line drawings on this one, but it's amazing, right? And then there was this. Just so cool. And this is actually, there's the line drawings. This one can be done in a one-piece dress or a two-piece dress. I love a two-piece dress. And then this one I remember because the only thing cut on this was, they're calling this a waistcoat, by the way, not a waistcoat, not a vest, which I thought was interesting. That's very old school, but it was the only part of it that was cut. So I was so happy. All of the pieces for that blouse and that jacket, the blouse and the skirt are uncut, right? And then there's this cute little McCall's one. It's just some women's pajamas. And this one, this is interesting. This pattern, you can see the whole top is separated. So I actually put it in the envelope upside down so that we give it a little bit more support. That's very fragile, this one. And this one, oh, talk about fragile. Okay. So this one, even as I'm looking at it, it's moving around. This is a McCall's pattern. I believe that it was 1960. It's a maternity pattern. And if I remember correctly, the only thing that was cut was this over top. The rest of it, all the pieces were uncut. So this will be going up there this week, but it's in really, you can see, it's in really bad shape. So, but, you know, it's such a cool pattern. I had to keep it. Oh, and we had some lovely buttericks, including this. I just love this. And kind of in that same theme, we had this butterick pattern. Very similar kind of dress, similar look. And another McCall's. Another oh so fabulous McCall's. And here's the illustration on the back. This one's another one. These large skirts, you end up with like a gazillion pattern pieces because of these extra large skirts. And then remember, they're putting a crinoline under it, right? And for our last of the vintage patterns, I saw this pattern and grabbed it because I was really afraid it was going to die. And I have to tell you, pieces of this pattern were balled up and shoved into the envelope, and that was no good. So it is this lovely wedding gown pattern. I'm going to say around 1970. I remember looking at the date. It was either 70 or 72 on this one, but wow, right? And it's actually in pretty good shape. It has been made, but they didn't make the train. They didn't make several of the sleeve styles. They did, if I remember correctly, I figured out that they did this like pink dress here. So I think they actually made it as a bridesmaid's dress, not a wedding dress. So it's in pretty good shape. All the pieces are there, and it's just so fabulous. All right, so now let's talk about the modern patterns I got. So I went into Goodwill and I found these patterns, and they have been allowing me to go through the pattern bags and pull out the stuff that's uncut and factory folded, because I was getting really tired of the stuff that was cut. I did get one cut pattern. I will show it to you and explain to you why. I picked up this one. They only made hat number A, which is this one here. These patterns were around in the 90s. I remember them. And then they just kind of disappeared. And they're for kind of an Afrocentric look, kente cloth and all that, but they just don't exist anymore. So I grabbed this one because I knew it would sell. And indeed, it's listed pretty high when I looked it up. So the only thing that was cut was this. So the vest is still good. The shawl still good. All of these headdresses are still good. So this was the only one when I was going through the patterns that I grabbed that was cut. Now, I did also leave behind some patterns that were children's patterns, craft patterns, curtain patterns, stuff like that were uncut, because I can't. I have so many of them and they don't sell. So I wasn't going to buy more. All right. And then we have a couple of really cool indie patterns. So we had this, which is green pepper. I've bought and sold green pepper before. I don't know if green pepper is still around, but as you can see, it was for all of this plus a scrunchie. I know, scrunchies. There was this. I hope we can get this in the shot. I've never heard of Cybele. Apparently it's a yoga studio, and they sell sewing patterns for their yoga pants. So here are the Cybele yoga pants, and they're low-cut yoga pants or shorts. I was like, okay. And that was pretty much for the independents. But yeah, I was like, all right, we'll do it. And then we had this. So this is an older new look. This is done in fleece. This is done in stretch knit. It's just loungewear or pajamas, whichever you'd like to call it. This, which I'm shocked hasn't sold yet because I think it's already in somebody's cart. It is just basically like a gored t-shirt dress, but it was like 95 degrees almost every day or higher here in New Jersey last week. Today's the first day that the temperature has dropped, and we're all very happy about it. We got this nice little asymmetrical jacket. This stretch knit top. It's from their line. They have an easy knits line, which is pretty good actually if you've ever tried it. And then this, I love getting style patterns. So I put this under Western wear because it looked very, okay, I don't remember what the character's name was, but remember Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman? Wasn't there a guy that always had that shirt? I just can't remember what his name was. It wasn't the guy she married. It wasn't Sully, but there was like another guy in the village that pretty much always had that shirt on. So I put it under Western. And we had several Vogue patterns, and I'm always happy to get a Vogue pattern. So we had this one, which is for, these are just the shrugs, none of the shirts. Doesn't include this corset or anything. But, you know, shrugs were big. Remember, shrugs were big in the early 2000s. And there was this, a Donna Karan, uncut, still factory folded. Kind of a nice dress, actually. I think this was late 90s. And really kind of a beautiful dress. And this, which the envelope unfortunately looked like it went through the wars, but the actual pattern never been cut. It was still factory folded. It's for men's suits, different styles of men's suits. And this by a designer I've never heard of, but that doesn't say much. And yeah, it includes this kind of corseted style top. It's a wrap blouse. There's the line drawings. And then there were just the good old standbys. There were lots of Simplicities and Buttericks and McCalls. So we'll do Simplicity. All right, so there we go. Another Western wear style shirt. There was this pattern that I almost kept for myself because it goes up to my size, but I decided not to. But a really good basic pattern. And then this pattern, which I wish I would have found in June. Look at all this. Look at all that resort wear. Oh, it includes the directions for this bag. But what a great pattern. If you're going on a cruise or something, or you're going to Jamaica, there's your pattern. Really good basic skirt pattern, I believe. Yeah, these are elastic waist skirts. Oh, do I have that upside? There we go. Sorry, I had it upside down. So easy. That's why it's a 2-hour skirt, because you're just really sewing together the sides, putting the hem in, and adding the elastic. And then this, which is turtleneck or mock turtleneck vests, scarves, earmuffs, a purse, a hat, like just the whole shebang. Got everything going on in here. Just winter accessories for après-ski. And then there was this, which is for some unknown reason, a $50 pattern. I did not price it at $50. I priced it at $35. And even that I had difficulty doing. It is apparently super rare. It's Daisy Kingdom. You know, we've talked about Daisy Kingdom before, but I don't know if it's so popular because it's the style that it is. It's a wrap. These are actually great. They're called wrap aprons, but I had always heard them called canning aprons. So yeah, it's up on my shop, you know. All right. And then the McCall's patterns. I got this one. I almost probably should have skipped this one. I have a couple of these. They just don't sell well. I think that people that are nurses they don't have enough time to sew, or they're just too tired, right? I had this pattern and sold it already a while back, probably 2 years back. Sold really well. By the way, peignoir. This is a peignoir. A peignoir. I think it's pronounced peignoir. It's McCall's, so no line drawings because we know how McCall's is with the line drawings. And then this was, I really wish this was in my size. What a great basic shirt pattern. Long sleeve and short sleeve. It's got some line drawings back there. It's another one. Kind of wish this was in my size. It's just like your cigarette pants, your capris, your shorts. You know, they're cute. Your ankle style pants. Oh, look at this. Yeah, it's a slip dress, and then this is an overdress you can put over it. Kind of cool. The funny thing was, and all right, some of you are going to laugh when I say this, but some of you are going to know what I'm talking about. In The Matrix, was it 1 or 2? I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. There's like the scenes when they're in Zion, and like one of the leaders of the Resistance was wearing something like this. She was wearing like a slip dress with an overdress, and that's, as soon as I saw that, that's what I thought of. And speaking of Y2K, that's right. Everybody's favorite Y2K. Look at this hair. Everybody's favorite Y2K patterns. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is actually, yeah, it's just the cargo whatever. So it's cargo shorts, cargo skirts, cargo maxi skirt, and then a little more Y2K for you. Here we go. Oh, I had one of these. I mean, it was 20 years ago. So I would have been, it's 23 years ago. So I would have been 43. No, I think when this pattern came out, I wasn't 40 yet. So I did have a top like this. I wore a top like this in my 30s. I know, shame on me. But in my defense, I had a really good body for a really long time. I lucked out in that, arena. So this is designed for stretch knits. And it's weird because to me, it really looks like a turtleneck that you would knit, but it's not. You buy the stretch knit fabric and you make the turtleneck or the mock turtleneck. had this cardigans. This is also designed for knits or stretch knits. It's just all this series of cardigans. And then a little more Y2K for us. There we go. And yeah, little slip dress. I feel like, you wear this outfit because you just got your belly button pierced, right? And then some PJs. This actually was super cute. Kind of wish this was in my size because I like that little halfy camisole thing with the loungewear, but it's not super small. But all right, so let's talk about addiction for a little bit. So this week, that was a bad setup. This week, while I was looking for the prices of these Goodwill patterns, I stumbled across a Etsy page, and this woman had only about a little over 2 pages of patterns, like not even a whole half a page on the third page. And she was selling them all for $2. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, a couple of them I had, and I was charging more than $2 because I know that so's everybody else. So I went in and I bought 25 patterns. And then they came and I have them and I looked at them. And then she sent me a code for 20% off. And I bought another $35 worth of patterns. So how many was that? 18, I think 18. I've basically bought all of the stock from this woman's store. And next week, I'm going to keep working on vintage, but I figured next week, let's take a little break. And by then I'll have the second batch. The first batch is over here. I'll have the second batch. We'll take a look at them. Take a look, see what I got. And here's my dilemma. And you guys can leave me some feedback in the comments. Should I tell this woman that I'm also an Etsy seller and that the majority, really, I think all but maybe 2 of the patterns that I got from her, I'll be reselling on my Etsy shop? Part of me says, you paid for them. They're yours now. You can do whatever you want with them. But another part of me feels like because she's a fellow Etsy seller, I should be honest with her. I should be upfront with her. And honestly, she may not even care. It almost seemed like she was doing a large destash of her personal patterns. A lot of them are very similar sizes. Most of them are between an 8 and a 12 or a 10 and a 14. So I did end up getting 2 patterns that I'm probably going to keep for myself because they both went up to my size 20. But, she might not even care. But I just feel like I should be honest about it. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm so grateful that all of you hung in there and showed up today because when I posted on Thursday that I was going to do this at 4 o'clock because I was going to a pool party, I realized a lot of people that watch my channel and that tune in at 2 o'clock on Sundays don't realize that they can go look at the community page and see any updates I've done. So I was a little nervous about that, but hopefully everybody will figure it out. I know a lot of people just watch this later because 2 o'clock isn't convenient for them either. So until next week, which it will be 2 o'clock, and we will do modern patterns next week. Until then, I hope you're doing well. I hope wherever you are, it is not too hot. And until next week, please like, subscribe, and comment, and have a great week. Bye.